Welcome to the first episode of Bake with Ms.Wood. I miss all of you guys so terribly, and I wanted to try to do something to connect with you guys. I have been baking like crazy during this quarantine, so my favorite thing I've made so far is banana bread, so that's what we're gonna make today. Before you get started though, make sure you have the recipe from my website. I'm also gonna email it out. Go ahead and print it and make sure you have all of the ingredients. Preheat your oven to 325, okay? And get out a stick of butter and let it soften, okay? So I normally let mine soften for about an hour, hour and a half. So if you haven't done those things, pause the video, go ahead and do them and get all of your supplies. Okay guys, so first off, before we get started, I really want to say, number one, Miss Wood is not a professional baker or a professional chef. Sometimes I'm great at baking and sometimes some things come out not so great. So if any professional bakers or professional chefs are watching this video, please don't hate me. But it's a good life lesson. You don't have to be the best at something just to enjoy it. I really enjoy baking, so here we go. First things first, I'm gonna wash my hands, and you need to wash your hands too, okay? I know that we are all washing our hands during this time, but it's really important before you cook anything. You have lots of germs on your hands and you don't want to carry them onto what you're making and into people's mouths, right? Right. So now that we have washed our hands, we're gonna make sure we have all our ingredients and get ready, okay? So first I'm gonna talk to you about measurement real quick, okay? So in the recipe, we use tablespoons and teaspoons, okay? There's a big difference, but sometimes they look kind of similar because one is TBSP and one is TSP, okay? So you wanna make sure you have a tablespoon and a teaspoon because they're different, okay? Okay guys, so the first thing we're gonna do is measure out 2 cups of flour. So now, when Ms.Wood was younger, she used to make the mistake of dipping the flour in there and saying, oh look, I have a cup. Okay, but if you see how much the flour goes over the edge, that's not actually a cup. That's way more than a cup. So I like to take a plastic knife, scoop the top back into the bowl, and then we have a perfect cup, all right? So make sure that you measure off those measurements, top them off when you're finished. Okay, so now I have my first bowl, okay, and the recipe says 2 cups of flour, okay, so I'm gonna dump 1 cup, make sure I got it all out, my second cup of flour, make sure I get all of that one. Then we remember the difference between teaspoon and tablespoon. Right now I'm working with teaspoons, okay, I'm gonna have a teaspoon of baking powder and a teaspoon of baking soda. Those are 2 different things. So this is our baking soda, and this is what baking powder looks like, okay? So we need both for this recipe. And the last thing I'm gonna do is put in a teaspoon of salt, okay? So I'm just gonna mix. These are all of my dry ingredients, and just simply mix them in the bowl. Okay, next up, I'm gonna put that to the side. Okay, in my next bowl, I am gonna have 3 bananas and I'm going to mash them. So I'm gonna take a hard fork and just kind of press them all over. Okay, doesn't have to be total mush, but the mushier, the easier it is gonna be when you put it in the mixer. Okay, so I'm just gonna mush my bananas. Okay, so now I have my bananas all mushed. The next thing that I'm gonna add is a tablespoon, that's a bigger one, of milk. Okay, so I'm gonna pour it and dump it in. After I add that tablespoon of milk, I'm gonna add a teaspoon of ground cinnamon and mix that in my bananas really good. Okay. Okay guys, now I'm gonna move on to my stand-up mixer. If you don't have a stand-up mixer, it's at home, it's okay. Some of you might have something that looks like this. You can use that in a large bowl. If you don't have either, you can just stir really, really hard. I've done it before I had this and this was broken. You just gotta put some big elbow grease in it, okay? So, first thing I'm gonna throw in there is my cup of sugar. I made sure to top it off. And then I'm gonna put in half a cup of butter. So half a cup of butter is 1 stick of butter, okay? And I let it soften for about an hour before I started this. So I'm gonna put this down, put my cover on, lock it, and let it go. Okay guys, the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add 2 eggs to my butter and sugar mixture when it's all light and fluffy. So Ms. Wood has a habit of actually accidentally getting the eggshells in the mixture. So I've started cracking my eggs in a coffee cup and then adding it to the mixture, okay? So I'm gonna make sure I crack the first one. I don't see any shells in there. And then crack the second one. And yay, I think I got both of those the first time with no shells. So then I'm gonna dump it into my sugar and butter mixture and let that mix as well. Okay? Okay guys, next I'm gonna take my banana and cinnamon mixture and I'm gonna pour it in my mixer and get it all mixed up with our butter, sugar, and eggs. Okay guys, last thing I'm gonna add in this mixture while it's slowly going is all of my flour, okay? All those dry ingredients. I'm gonna scoop them in. I'm gonna take this part slowly so I don't overload the batter. Okay guys, now I have my dough mixture all ready to go and I'm gonna take 3/4 cup of chocolate chips and dump them in. Now, if you are not a big chocolate chip person, you don't have to add those. If you are a big chocolate chip person, you can actually add more. I'm going to take my favorite Star Wars spatula and just fold them in. I'm not going to do this part with the mixture because I don't want the chocolate chips to get broken. Okay, so I'm just going to fold them in the batter. Hey guys, over here at my stove, I'm gonna number one make sure that I preheated the oven, 325, and then it's ready to go. I'm gonna take my bread pan. This is a non-stick, and I'm gonna spray it with cooking spray anyway, just because it's super easy to get the bread out. Some people freak out about that, but it's fine. And then I'm gonna take my dough and my spatula and just dump it right in. Okay guys, I set my timer for an hour. We may need more than that depending on your oven. Mine tends to cook really fast, but I recommend starting it out with an hour. And then I'm going to show you how to check it, okay? Okay guys, next important part while your bread is baking, it's the dishes, right? We made the mess, so we got to clean the dishes, okay? Okay guys, I have my banana bread out of the oven. Make sure you use oven mitts and get your parents' help. I'm gonna take a single toothpick and I'm gonna press it down in the middle. Okay, so my toothpick came out with a bunch of cake on it. So that means that my bread is not finished, okay? I'm gonna put it back in the oven for 3 minutes and I'm gonna continue that process, checking it with a clean toothpick every 3 minutes until it comes out clean, okay? Because I wanna make sure that my bread gets baked all the way through. Alright guys, I'm taking my bread back out of the oven and let's see if our toothpick comes out clean this time, okay? So I'm gonna get a new one. Stick it in the center. And look, it came out perfectly clean, no cake on it. So my bread is done. I'm gonna let it cool before I pop it out and cut it. All right guys, I cut my banana bread and it's all ready to serve. All right guys, I enjoyed making banana bread with you. I hope everyone's staying safe. I miss you guys and I'll see you in another video.